3 years ago, it looked as if it was all over for millionaire businessman John Conway. His wholesaling firm, Meteor Electrical, which once employed around 200, had gone into liquidation. The huge complex, 5 miles outside Cookstown, lay empty and deserted. This was a company that once sponsored the Circuit of Ireland. Its name was emblazoned on the strip of Derry City Football Club. The money the business generated also paid for a nice lifestyle, including a villa in the south of France for John Conway and his family, plus jaunts abroad. Just take me through these pictures.
This was taken probably about 06, and at that stage we would have been growing 20-25% a year on year. This was around the same time we were out at the Grand Prix in Portugal, I think it was, and this was on a holiday learning how to drive a racing car.
It's a good life.
It wasn't bad. Things were pretty good.
But a series of blows took the company down. The collapse of the construction industry and a squeeze by the banks played a part. A disastrous hedging ploy in the currency markets also hit hard. That strategy cost Meteor more than £2 million. Liquidation deprived the Kildress businessman of his company of 20 years and even put his own home on the line.
At the start, it's just complete devastation. You know, mentally, I lost 1.5 stone weight in the last wee while. You just can't believe that, where it has got to, and you don't know where it's going to sort out. And the first 2 weeks was just completely, you're like a zombie.
Tell me, what's the lowest point?
The lowest point is probably the day that we stood in McGashel with the last 70 employees saying it was closed.
And what was their reaction at that point?
It was tough. That was the lowest. That was very hard because it's easy now. It's easy now. You can look back and say, and you can look back and say it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? But that moment in time was so much unknown. You've run a business for 30 years and you've built it up and built it up and built it up, and you've never been here before.
How did you react at that point when you were having to tell those staff?
I wasn't very good now. You know what I mean? It was tough.
In what way? Explain to me what you're feeling.
I couldn't, you know what I mean? I struggled with it, and I struggled in talking to people, you know what I mean? Because it's just very difficult. There's some of them people who were with me for 20 odd years.
Did they blame you?
No.
Why not?
Maybe we're not big into doing blame.
At times like these, you discover who your real friends are, and John Conway realised he had a lot. Letters of support reminded him of what he'd achieved for the local community. But there were a few who, he claims, tried to capitalise on his difficulties.
There's people who see this as you're weak and you're vulnerable, and this is their opportunity to maximise. And they do try to stand on you, you know what I mean, and that happens. But that's where those people are at, and it's probably not a very happy place. But in the main, I had people for every one person who was interested in damaging Meteor or damaging me, there was 100 saying, I'll help you.
Local Church of Ireland minister Brian Cruz was one of the many to come to his aid.
Well, John's a neighbour. He gives local employment, and behind every kind of business difficulty there's a human story. So I knew that John and Anne-Marie and the children were probably having a rough time. So I just want to go down and support them and let them know that as a community there are people that care for them. And maybe not the practical business help, but just to make sure that they were okay.
We had 200 people working here. They were young people, fellas and girls. And the tradition down the years in the Kildresses of this world is you go elsewhere to work. Maybe down the road, but increasingly, across the water, or America or Australia. And for somebody to come along and create something like that there, good, well-paid jobs for people, and as I say, for fellas and girls, which is very important. That's why he was so important. That's why he continues to be so important here.
With encouragement and professional support, some of which was offered free, John Conway has got back into business. Meteor now employs 12 selling electrical gear, but this time solely on the internet. John even managed to secure a sizable loan for the business from a bank.
It took me 25 months.
And how much did you get?
I got $500,000.
Were you surprised you got so much?
No, I was looking for 750,000. But it took me 25 months, and it took me I think it's something like 1,800 phone calls and 800 emails and 18 meetings, and
It's a modest start for someone who used to sell £3 million of goods a month. But John Conway is firmly back in business. What this story shows is that there is life after liquidation. There can be a way back from dire economic circumstances, which is not to deny that there have been casualties along the way. Banks, suppliers, John Conway himself have all lost money. But the important thing is that all that should not be a reason for someone not trying to get back on their feet. Jimmy Delargy, UTV Live Tonight, outside Cookstown.